Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? And my God, has it been a crazy week for Star Wars news, and it just keeps on coming as the Rey movie has seemingly been delayed, quote unquote, yet again, as Dawn of the Jedi will come out before the long expected sequel to the sequel trilogy. Not only that, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie might have just been confirmed to be the first of an entire Mando trilogy of movies. And yes, of course, more Darth Plagueis as the visual guide or whatever it's called, the visual dictionary for the Acolyte season 1, which I'm calling it from now on, does give us a little bit more information into Darth Plagueis and possibly even teasing a little bit more of that character. But without further ado, let's dive in to all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? This is going to be a fun one. I know it seems like bad news when it says the Rey movie has been delayed, but the thumbnail of this live stream says good news because I do think that this is good news. Not because I'm a Rey hater, not because I hate the sequel trilogy, but because I think that movie needs a lot of time to become really, really good. And we'll talk about how Starfighter will affect that and everything. But Dawn of the Jedi being pushed up is even more important. It's great news because James Mangold, Mr. Willie Mon, and all that greatness 25,000 years before the prequel trilogy and giving us the Dawn of the Jedi. It's going to be awesome. But let me simmer down for a second here. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Let's start this stream the way we're supposed to. All right. Brandon Baker in the house. Holly, how we doing? WUV grad, what is up? How Runner Base in the house. Dustin Kennedy, what is up? Robert, how we doing? Darth Raccoonar, what is up? Starship 66 in the house. Jason, what is up? Fearless, how we doing? Darth Plagueis lives. We'll be talking about Darth Plagueis for sure today. That guy B, what is up? Nathan, how we doing? Mike in the house, and that's not me, Mike. That's you, Mike. Steve, what is up? Cleve Morris, how we doing? Tavari Tano, what is up? Okay, you know the deal, guys. If I missed you, just yell at me a lot in the chat. Just scream at me. Be like, Mike, what the hell? Why'd you miss me? But let's just give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay. Well, first things first, let's start with the Rey movie news. What just happened? Are we good? Okay. I don't know what that was. All right. Let's start with the Rey movie news. I don't know what that alert was, but hopefully it means that we're all safe and we're all doing well and everything is fine and the stream is still going and we're all doing great on a fine Saturday afternoon and it's going to be a fun time to talk about Star Wars but we'll see. Okay. Let's start with the Rey movie news. Okay. Now, first things first, I want to start with a poll before we even get into what this news is. I want to start with a poll. So if you haven't smashed a freaking like on this stream, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Get on that. But let's do this. 50 Thunder, what's up? Yes, of course we missed you. But yeah, okay, let's do this. All right, there we go. Are you excited for the Rey movie? Yes or no? Simple yes or no to start off the stream. Are you excited for the Rey movie? I just want to put that out before we start talking about it because I want to see if some people's opinions might just change. But we'll see. Okay, so let's talk about it. What happened? Well, a very good industry insider, which we talk about all the time, Daniel Richtman, is talking about the James Mangold Dawn of the Jedi movie. And he happens to point out this. The new Jedi Order movie starring Daisy Ridley as Rey is reportedly on hold, while James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie is moving forward. All right. Let me just give you a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at what's going on with the movies for Star Wars, okay? We got the Mandalorian and Grogu movie next year, May 2026, May 22nd, 2026. The following year, in May 27th, I think, in May, we have Star Wars Starfighter. Those are the only two Star Wars movies to date that we know of that have a release date. Now, there is an untitled Star Wars project that's supposed to come out in December of 2027, so in 2.5 years from now. And it seems like, or at least before this news dropped, it seemed like the Rey movie was going to take that place. However, now, according to Daniel, things have been shifted around. And the Dawn of the Jedi movie will come out before the Rey movie. Now, some of you might be going, yes! Yeah! No more Rey movie. No, this is not, the Rey movie is canceled. This is not Rey movie gone forever. No, and I certainly hope not. It's been pushed back behind the Dawn of the Jedi. Now that, to me, is great news. With the Rey movie, because people have so many strong opinions about the sequel trilogy and about the character of Rey herself, that movie needs the most amount of work, the most amount of time to become a great movie than any of these other movies. Yes, I certainly hope the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is really, really good. I certainly hope Starfighter is really, really good. I hope they're all great. But the Rey movie has the most riding on it because it has the sequel trilogy connections and Rey herself. And that, just plain and simple, all we know about the movie, is enough to make the fandom go, no thank you, I don't want that. So at some point between now, currently, June 21st, 2025, and when this Rey movie releases, that narrative has to change. The Star Wars fandom can't be going, I don't want this. I don't want more Rey. I don't want an extension of the sequel trilogy. I don't want the future of the Star Wars timeline. I want the Old Republic. I want the blah, blah. Now, maybe that won't change because we want the Old Republic quite a bit. But being more open-minded going into a Rey movie might change things. Now, how do we get from here to there? Well, there's a lot of things that can happen over the course of the next 2.5, 3+ years before we get this Rey movie. Star Wars Starfighter could be a big one. As we were talking about earlier this week when the Starfighter stuff was coming out, that this movie being about Ryan Gosling helping his nephew, who seemingly could be force sensitive, escape these evil, what do they call them? Evil, not pirates. They called them something else. Pursuers, maybe? Was it evil pursuers? Somebody help me out in the chat. Evil pursuers, let's just call it, that were chasing his nephew. I mean, the only logical explanation would be that the nephew is force sensitive, and this Ryan Gosling character is trying to get that nephew to Rey's new Jedi Order. That would be the perfect setup. And actually, if that movie is amazing, which we hope it will be, Star Wars Starfighter could give a lot of fans hope for the next generation of Jedi, that is. And maybe even the nephew could be a main character in the Rey movie. Who knows? Whatever it may be, it does seem like from this news and from what we've been hearing over the last couple weeks, the Rey movie is being reworked and reworked quite a bit. And it's being put on hold. It's being pushed behind the Dawn of the Jedi movie. And that might just be great news. Not good news, but great news. Okay? Now, first things first, tell me what you think in the chat about all this. Are you excited for the Rey movie? Are you not excited for the Rey movie? Do you think this is a good decision to delay it? Do you think it's a horrible one? What do you think is going on? Tell me your thoughts in the chat. And while you do that, we had a super chat. Hang on. 50 Thunder with a very generous $2. Oh, that's the chat. $2 is a scream test. I appreciate that. And yes, the scream is working today, right? Yeah, that worked. Scared the crap out of me. All right. Well, let's talk about this. Let's read this article while you guys tell me in the chat what you think. Shall we? All right? All right?
This is where the fun begins.
Okay. So, this article coming from Screen Rant, and of course, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Rey's new Jedi Order movie delays are actually good news for Star Wars, and I agree with this. But let's read it. I have not read this article yet, so that's my own. Let's do it. Okay. Rey's new Jedi Order movie keeps getting pushed back. Really? Every time I start an article, you guys just want to be throwing money at me. What's up with that? Can a man read in peace? Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, did someone say Darth Plagueis? Yes, we'll get to that later. We got to talk about this Rey movie news first. Also, I think it's for the best that the Rey movie is delayed until they make it perfect. Make it perfect. I'm guessing that's what you meant. And where is Sam? Well, Sam's not here today, but she will be coming soon. I promise. The return of Sam is going to be glorious. Okay, but yeah, I agree with you on that second statement. I think it's best for the Rey movie to be pushed back as far as possible just to make it as good as possible. Because that movie is already going in with a very, very negative connotation around it. The conversation in the Star Wars fandom when we talk about the Rey movie is always, no, thank you. No. And that needs to change. But I appreciate the super chat. But now that I've been so rudely interrupted, let's get back to this article, shall we? Rey's. Okay, I was just making sure nobody was going to try and cut me off again. Rey's new Jedi Order movie keeps getting pushed back. But that's actually good news for Star Wars. It's hard to believe that it's actually been 2 years now since Daisy Ridley's Star Wars return was announced. I was there at Star Wars Celebration. I will never forget the excitement. That's crazy. It's been over 2 years since the Rey movie was announced. Wow, does time fly, chat? Okay. Daisy Ridley was originally slated to appear in Charmina Bed-Chinoy's new Jedi Order movie, but there have since been reports she's likely to turn up in a Star Wars trilogy written by Simon Kinberg instead. The latest report, and again, this Rey movie could just be the beginning of that Simon Kinberg trilogy for all we know, so keep that in mind. The latest reports come from scooper Daniel Richtman, claiming that the new Jedi Order movie has been pushed back yet again. We've had a lot of cancellations in terms of Star Wars movies, so I totally get why the fandom is starting to panic. Over on Reddit, I've seen chatter suggesting that Star Wars is cursed, but that's not true. Instead, the latest comments from Rickman are pretty much what I expected, and they are good news. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Rey movie being canceled is the end of the world. This movie's never going to get made. This is horrible. No. This is the best possible outcome. So let's keep going. The future of Star Wars is finally taking shape. The Disney era of Star Wars has been a troubled one. Lucasfilm seems to lose confidence in the movies after the box office failure of Solo: A Star Wars Story, even though that movie is extremely underrated. The sequel trilogy did not exactly end on the highest of notes. The focus shift to Disney Plus to a range of Star Wars TV shows, beginning with The Mandalorian, and recently building to its peak of Andor Season 2. Well, I don't know if we can consider that a peak when we looked at the numbers last stream, but all that changes now. 2 Star Wars movies are in the works. One of them already done filming, and one of them starting filming in this fall. Oh, I should just keep reading. One is finished filming, and the second one is due to start in September. Boom. There you go. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie is due to release on May 22nd, 2026. And Star Wars Starfighter, starring Ryan Gosling and being directed by Sean Levy, and now the villain will be Mia Goth, is due to release on May 28th, I was wrong, 2027. When Disney originally bought Lucasfilm, the studio was pushed to do too much too quickly. Now, we are moving to 1 Star Wars movie a year, and Lucasfilm is only producing 1 at a time. There are still risks. There's no way to learn from any missteps with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie before Sean Levy's Star Wars Starfighter begins shooting. But it is a lot more sensible and sustainable. So what they're pretty much saying here is if the Mandalorian and Grogu movie flops or does horrible for one reason or another, there's not really time to fix it. There's not time to fix the issues and the problems when it comes to Starfighter, because Starfighter's going to start filming in a couple months. Yeah. Now, unlike the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, I actually think Starfighter, when it films, is going to have a ton of leaks come out. Like a ton. And because, obviously, we don't know much about it. We know a lot about Din and Grogu. They've had 3 seasons of a show. We don't know about the character that Ryan Gosling's going to play, or Mia Goth is going to play, or this mysterious nephew. And we don't really know what Starfighter means. Is he just going to be a pilot? But a pilot for who? For what? The Resistance is gone, seemingly. Might be the new government. The First Order is gone. So there's got to be a lot of plot details and leaks when it comes to the filming of that movie. But it also means that the latest report makes a lot of sense. Assuming that Rey's new Jedi Order movie is next, it won't start production until next year, after Starfighter has wrapped. Star Wars needs time to get Rey's return right. Could not agree with that more. Recent reports have claimed that the Rey is Star Wars' most valuable cinematic asset. This was from, I believe, a couple months ago when we were talking about this. But those reports are right. The sequels may not have been universally loved, to say the least, but I'll never forget the electricity at Star Wars Celebration 2 years ago. 2 years ago. One movie in production at once means that Lucasfilm has plenty of time to get Rey's return right. It might be the most important movie that they have in production. The Mandalorian and Grogu is important because it's the first reintroduction to the big screen. The Dawn of the Jedi is extremely important because it's the Dawn of the Jedi. It's 25,000 years before anything else. It could lead to the Old Republic. It's got a lot riding on its shoulders. But that's got James Mangold and Mr. Williamon, so we seem like that's in good hands. But the Rey movie has the most riding on it because of its extension to the sequel trilogy, because of a continuation of Rey's story, and it's the stepping stone to the future of the Star Wars timeline. This is it. Whatever the Rey movie gives us with the government of the galaxy, the new Jedi Order movie she's establishing, the new Jedi Order she's establishing, the new villains, whether it's the Grisk or it's Abeloth or it's Darth Krayt or Darth Talon, it's all going to be just new in whatever the future is going to look like. You're moving past Palpatine, probably the greatest villain other than Vader of all time, who's a freaking strategical genius who always had a plan, to whoever the next villain's going to be. And you're going from the core heroes of Anakin, Obi-Wan, Luke, Leia, Han, Lando, Chewie, those people, to the next generation. It's by far the most important. It has to stick the landing. It has to be a success for the future of the Star Wars timeline. It has to be. So, Daisy Ridley herself has even stressed this, as she said, people have talked about it a lot, that the release date often affects films and how quickly things go into production. So the freedom is make sure that the script is the best way is the best way to tell this story. Tell this story is wonderful. Wait, what? Oh, so the freedom to make sure that the script is the best way to tell the story is wonderful. I don't think any fans would want it to be rushed. The wait will be worth it. And I could not agree with that more. I will wait 6 million years. No, I'm kidding. But I will wait a lot longer. We're still going to be getting Star Wars movies. We're going to get into the Dawn of the Jedi being moved up in a second. But this movie being delayed is not the end of the world. Even for fans of the sequel trilogy, even for fans of the character of Rey, this is not the end of the world. This is actually great news because now they're going to spend the time that this movie deserves. The sequel trilogy was the big mistake of the Disney era. It's the huge, unplanned shakeup, put it lightly. It wasn't planned from the beginning, and each movie feels like a different story where they're just drumbling these characters along, especially Rey. She goes from being a nobody to being a somebody to being a nobody to being a somebody to being a nobody to being a Palpatine, and then a Skywalker. Come be the end of Rise of Skywalker. So they need to get this right. They need to have a plan so they can figure it out. And that's why this delay is not bad at all. Because Daisy Ridley's absolutely right. These delays of the Star Wars New Jedi Order movie are not bad news at all. Nor are they a sign that Star Wars is cursed, as those Reddit users were saying. Instead, this is a good sign, a step in the right direction. Star Wars isn't in a hurry anymore. These delays of the New Jedi Order movie prove it. And that's definitely a good thing. Could not agree more. Literally could not agree more. As much as I want to see more of this character, as much as I want to see the future of the Star Wars timeline move forward past the sequel trilogy, because that's going to be so cool, they need to take their time and plan it out well. Speaking of taking their time and planning it out well, We just got the finale of the High Republic novels. Now, I've not read them, but from what I've been hearing, it's incredible. It's a very, very good end. And the reasoning for that is because the High Republic novels are 3 phases of books, all planned out with the best writers that they had in a room for years. They planned out new villains, new heroes, new everything, new species, new force powers, new all this stuff. And it became an incredible story. That's what they have to do with the Rey movie and everything moving forward, let's be honest. But that's what they have to do with this Rey movie because of how important it is. Because it's a continuation of the sequel trilogy and the future of Star Wars content in the Star Wars timeline, let's put it. So, yeah, this is not bad news. And the best part of it all is that the James Mangold Dawn of the Jedi has been pushed up. It's likely to be that December 2027 release date. And let's talk about some Dawn of the Jedi for a second, shall we? Dawn of the freaking Jedi, okay? Tell me in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Dawn of the Jedi? Tell me in the chat, scale 1 to 10. To me, it's like a 9. I know we don't know much about this movie. I know that it's still probably 2 years away. But let's be honest. The origin story for the Jedi Order, the first ever Force users, the first ever lightsaber being created, this story has been told in Legends. The canon version of this could be incredible. The amount of connections it could actually have to the Skywalker saga in the ways of showing us Tython in its glory days, when we see the Seeing Stone in the Mandalorian Season 2 that Grogu sits on. So we can get the before and after shots of that and Ook 2 and whatever other Jedi temples, Jeddah? Lothal, maybe even? Like all these old Jedi temples that we see, these ancient Jedi temples that we see in the Skywalker saga will be brand new, pristine, just built Jedi temples in the Dawn of the Jedi. And it's 25,000 years before everything. Meaning, this could be, if it's done correctly and if it's done well and if it's beloved by the fans, this could be the beginning of a completely new era in the Star Wars timeline that could lead directly to fan favorite characters of the Old Republic. Could lead to Darth Revan, of course, but even eventually further down the line, characters like Darth Bane in moving us forward down the timeline. Now, granted, what was that, Chet? What just happened? What was that, Chet?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay. Where was I? We have tried to leave the Skywalker saga a few times, and it hasn't really gone too well, let's just say. The Acolyte, which we'll talk about in a little bit with Darth Plagueis and stuff, that wasn't, let's put it lightly, that wasn't accepted well. You know, just a few people had a little bit of issues with that show, you know, just tiny bit. So, yeah, it came in with a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes before it even released. Even the High Republic books, which I just got done talking about, those don't sell well. Granted, they're novels, but they don't really sell well. And that's another attempt to leave the Skywalker saga. So Dawn of the Jedi is going to be the third, maybe more than the third, but another attempt to leave the Skywalker saga, and it needs to succeed because it could lead to us getting Old Republic content. And honestly, it could lead to a trilogy. I said this back when it happened seemingly over 2 years ago now. I didn't realize it was 2 years ago, chat. But 2 years ago, when these 3 movies actually were announced, Rey movie, Dawn of the Jedi movie, and Dave Filoni's movie, which, by the way, hasn't really gotten an update yet. Somebody in the Discord was talking about it. By the way, if you're not in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join in. But somebody was talking about it in the Discord. We're getting all this news about the Dawn of the Jedi movie, the Starfighter movie, the Rey movie. What happened to Dave Filoni's movie? Well, Dave is obviously filming right now Ahsoka Season 2, so he's not really concerned about his movie. That will eventually become a thing. I'm sure the headlines will be going crazy once he starts writing and directing that movie. But right now, it's seemingly not going to get any announcements because he's working on Ahsoka Season 2. And Ahsoka Season 2 has to be done first. So Dave's movie's going to be a while. Hopefully it's the second movie of a trilogy, but let me go back. When those 3 movies were announced over 2 years ago, I said, and tell me in the chat if you remember this, give me a 1 in the chat if you remember me saying this, all 3 of those movies will be the beginnings of trilogies. The Rey movie would be the beginning of a trilogy post-sequels, maybe 10, 11, 12, but probably not. Dawn of the Jedi will be the beginning of a trilogy set 25,000 years before everything. And at the time, Dave Filoni's Mando movie was going to be the beginning of a trilogy. It made a lot of sense. It really did. Because when you look at it, Star Wars works in trilogies. The spin-off movies, they went 1 for 2. Although I love Solo, it did lose money in the box office. Rogue One made $1 billion, but even still, those 2 spin-off movies, they went 1 for 2. It's highly likely that they're not going to spend all this money and all this time to just give us 1 spin-off movie about the Dawn of the Jedi, or even about the future of the Star Wars galaxy with a Rey movie. That plan, I guess, my theory for what happened there, was kind of thrown into the garbage when they announced the Mandalorian and Grogu movie about 6 months later. And that movie, to our surprise, seemed to have been a standalone film. Like it wasn't going to be the beginning of a trilogy. However, that changes yet again today. As you can tell in the title of this live stream, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is now, let me pull this up real quick. Right there. According to Daniel RPK, yet again, he's gone crazy, man. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, if it is a hit, then Lucasfilm plans to turn this into a trilogy. Now, I gotta know. You guys tell me. Is this the right way to go about this? Tell me in the chat. I understand they don't want to make the same mistakes that they made before. They don't want to greenlight an entire trilogy if it's not what fans want and if the first movie just sucks. I don't think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is going to suck, but it's a possibility. So, is this the right way to go about it? If the Mandalorian and Grogu is a hit, then it will become a trilogy. Because if that's the case, then this might be the case with all the movies. Like I just mentioned, Dawn of the Jedi, the Rey movie, it might just be that if those movies are successes, then they will be trilogies. But if they're not, they'll just be one-offs, into the mist, forgotten forever. I certainly hope not, especially Dawn of the Jedi. But this is interesting. Is this the way to go? Is this the right choice here? You tell me in the chat. And while we do, we have a super chat. Hang on. Jordan Rennie. You're insane. I appreciate it, Jordan. That's insanely generous. $50 super chat says, what upcoming project are you all most looking forward to? Ahsoka Season 2. Now, Ahsoka Season 2 is next year. Again, there's a lot of recency bias that goes into things, so what's coming next is usually the most exciting. The Maul series is definitely up there on the list. So is The Mandalorian and Grogu, but Ahsoka Season 2. I mean, what Dave Filoni told us at Star Wars Celebration about this war in our Star Wars with Chopper being more badass, Admiral Akbar versus Grand Admiral Thrawn, like seeing all that, the big blue meanie with possibly Abeloth and more Anakin and Ahsoka. I mean, come on. Come on. Ahsoka Season 1, of course, holds a very near and dear spot in my heart, being that it's Rebels Season 5. There's a lot of great stuff going on for Ahsoka Season 2, so yeah, that is the number one for me. Tell me in the chat, though, everybody else, what's your number one, most hyped up, most excited for Star Wars project? Tell me in the chat. Okay. But I appreciate that, Jordan. That's insanely generous. I appreciate it quite a bit. But let's get back here. So the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will only be the beginning of a trilogy if it's a hit. Now, this could be a good thing for a few reasons or a bad thing for another, okay? It could be a good thing because, like I said before, if it fails, if it bombs at the box office, which I don't think it will, Grogu's in it, Grogu's everywhere, everybody loves Grogu, but it could be a failure, and if it is, they don't want to just compound that failure over and over again. However, this could be a bad thing because if you are promoting the Mandalorian and Grogu movie as the beginning of a new trilogy, then people are going to be so much more excited. Think about the time of The Force Awakens. Cast your mind back to before The Force Awakens released, around maybe 2013, 2014, in that time period, when they announced that a sequel trilogy was being made. Remember that? We get the first trailer of Chewie, We're Home. We got all that greatness that happened before The Force Awakens came out. The hype level was insanely high because a new Star Wars trilogy was being made. That could happen again with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie if they announce that it's going to be the beginning of a new trilogy. Announcing a new trilogy in Star Wars is very, very, very big news because there's only ever been 3. Even though Star Wars has been around for 50 years, almost, there's only ever been 3 trilogies. So announcing the next one, that's a big deal. And you could use that to your advantage if the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is going to be the beginning of a new trilogy. So it has its benefits, it has its downfalls, but I honestly think this isn't the way to go. I don't like it at all. If it's going to be a trilogy, call it a trilogy so fans can get hyped. There's already 2 movies announced. Let's be honest. Let's be real here, chat. There's already the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and Dave Filoni's movie. That's 2 movies. Star Wars don't work like that. This don't do no, it don't do that. It work in 3s. Not 2s, 3s. So I don't know. It's not like they're going to cancel the Dave Filoni Mandoverse movie. That's never going to happen. So why not just do a trilogy? But tell me in the chat. Actually, let's put up a poll. Why not? Let's put up a poll. By the way, are you excited for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Are you excited for the Rey movie? 54% of you say no, and 46% say yes. That's the issue. We are almost 50-50. Pretty close. 50-50. Majority of people saying no, you're not excited for the Rey movie. That has to change. And I think delaying the Rey movie is the best outcome. If Starfighter truly sets up the Rey movie, that would be fantastic. It would give it the perfect, it would place it on a T so that even a little kid couldn't miss it. Like, that would be the best possible outcome, I think. But tell me in the chat. But let's put up a new poll. Let's put up a poll. Do you want the Mandalorian and Grogu to be the beginning of a trilogy? Yes or no? Do you want the Mandalorian and Grogu movie to be the beginning of a trilogy? Some sort of Heir to the Empire-esque trilogy. Now, it won't be the same as the Legends trilogy, of course. It's going to be very, very different. A lot of new faces. Din Djarin, Grogu, Harrison Dula, the Ghost crew, a lot of new faces. Hopefully Cal Kestis. Some Night Sisters. Those Night Sisters were not involved in the Legends trilogy. They actually weren't even invented yet. But there's going to be a very different storyline. However, it will still be the heir to the Empire. Grand Admiral Thrawn is still the heir to the Empire. So tell me in the chat, do you want the Mandalorian and Grogu movie to be the beginning of a new trilogy? Yes or no? And while you do, Jordan Rennie with a very generous $10 holla. God damn, you guys are feeling generous today. Says, announce my pitch for a new trilogy, Mike? Okay. My pitch for a new trilogy. You ready for this? In a world. No, okay. Honestly, just do a Mando trilogy. Just do an Heir to the Empire trilogy. But if I was just to pitch a random trilogy, okay, I got you. In a world. You gotta go Old Republic. If I'm in charge and I get to make a trilogy, just one trilogy. That's tough. Darth Bane? I mean, there's so many great stories in the Old Republic, it's hard to not say Revan. But I think I'd go Darth Bane. Because Revan, I feel like, is a saga. You need, like, multiple trilogies. If I only get one trilogy, it's Darth Bane. That's tough. That's tough. Okay. But, I don't know. I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. I think so. The problem with Rey is I cannot see her as a Skywalker because she's a Palpatine by blood. What I can see is that Rey will be and stay on the light side and never fall to the darkness. Well, honestly, what I think this Rey movie is going to be is the introduction of new characters. As much as I'd love to see John Boyega come back, which I hope he does, as Finn, and Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron, and of course Daisy Ridley as Rey, I don't think those characters are going to be the main characters of whatever comes next. It's going to be a brand new cast of characters, and the sequel trilogy characters, like Rey, are just going to be the Obi-Wan type characters. So as much as we call it the Rey movie, it's not going to be. It's going to be about these new faces. And Rey's just going to be like the mentor or the master at this Jedi temple. And maybe she dies, maybe she doesn't die, but maybe she just gets older. I don't know. But I don't think she'll be the main character. She might be a main character, but not the main character. Yeah. If that's the case, I'm just going to watch Star Trek. Well, sorry, that one got me. Go for it. Yeah. Kel says, the next trilogy is more likely to be the Kimberg trilogy, and there may also be spin-off series and standalone films. Well, we don't really know much about the Kimberg trilogy. The rumors are that it's going to involve Rey, and it will be a post-sequel trilogy. So this new Jedi Order movie might just be the beginning of that trilogy. Kimberg is on to write the trilogy, not direct it, so it's possible that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy could just be the director of the first movie of that trilogy. And Kimberg's writing the whole damn thing. I don't know. Could be. I can't wait for Simon Kinberg's trilogy. The craziest thing is that it got announced and nobody really talked about it. I was just saying how a new Star Wars trilogy is so crazy because there's only ever been 3. Simon Kinberg trilogy was announced, confirmed at Star Wars Celebration, and nobody really said boo about it. I get it. People don't think it's going to happen because Star Wars films get canceled left and right. Kinberg's worked on Star Wars a lot. He co-created Star Wars Rebels. I think the guy's going to make a trilogy, and I hope it's going to be really damn good. But we shall see. I don't understand why we can't have a little both of TV and films instead of just one or the other. Well, I think that's what they're going to do, is do a little bit of both. I know we were talking all doom and gloom last stream because the streaming numbers of Disney Plus and how low they've gotten, but I still think with Ahsoka Season 2, that will draw in a lot of heads. And whatever they announce next, whether it's a Season 2 to an already existing show or a new show, I think we're going to see more live-action television on Disney Plus at the same time as a movie a year for Star Wars. Now, it's going to be less. There's not going to be 2 or 3 or 4 live-action Star Wars shows on Disney Plus a year. That's just not going to happen. But one movie, one show, I'd be down for that. One movie, one show. And then add on to that the animation side of things too. I'd be down. Oh my God. Jordan Rennie, are you... He's lost his man. He's lost his mind, ladies and gentlemen. That's insanely generous. I appreciate that quite a bit. Jordan Rennie with a $100 super chat.
This is where the fun begins.
Said, here's 100. Now put on the Mon Mothma dance video and dance Mike dance. This seems wrong. This seems so wrong. Well, let's do it. Let's do it anyway. I was in such a groove, Jordan. You know, I was grooving. I was grooving. Mon Mothma dance video. Mon Mothma dancing. Okay, here we go. 1 hour of Mon Mothma dancing. Yeah. I appreciate it, Jordan. I really, really do. Yeah, I don't want to get copy struck for that song, though. Okay. But I appreciate it. Where were we? Where were we? Okay. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie post-credit scene will lead into Dave Filoni's movie. Honestly, it's more likely to lead into Ahsoka Season 2. Because I think those two projects will be connected. Not in the way of, like, Ahsoka will show up in The Mandalorian and Grogu. That's pretty much impossible. She's in a different galaxy. But it's likely that Thrawn's involvement, or at least Thrawn's rise to power, will be pretty evident in The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and that will set up Ahsoka Season 2. And then Ahsoka Season 2 will set up Dave Filoni's movie. Yeah. Yeah. Luke won't be in the movies. Disney hates Luke. No. Luke is in a lot of things. I don't think Disney hates Luke. He's in 3 of their 5 movies. He's in The Mandalorian. He's in the Book of Boba Fett. He's in the Kenobi series. He's in Rebels. He's in a lot of things. So I think no. But where was I? Yeah. If that grows into a trilogy, I just can't imagine the trilogy without legendary Jedi from the prequels of the original trilogy. Yeah, well, that is tough. Well, that's the thing. The Skywalker saga is over. The Skywalker saga is 3 trilogies. Whatever trilogy comes next, it's not going to be a part of this. I take that back, actually. The Mandalorian would be a part of the Skywalker saga. But if it's going to be a Rey trilogy or a Simon Kinberg trilogy or a Dawn of the Jedi trilogy, none of those will be considered Skywalker saga. So unless it's The Mandalorian, which it might be, but unless it's The Mandalorian, the content moving forward is going to be mostly Mandoverse stuff, and then the rest of it's going to be outside the Skywalker saga. You're going to have your Maul shows and your Tales shows that'll be in other places, but it's either going to be in the Mandoverse or outside the saga. Yeah. Oh, Alex with the very generous $2 holla says, went to Lucasfilm yesterday for the Revenge of the Sith screening? What? That's awesome. That's insane. Hope that was fun. Okay. Yeah. Indeed. Any original trilogy characters showing up in the New Republic projects? Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker would be good. I don't think they're going to recast the original trio. I've always been the team of deepfake, but I know you guys love the good recasts. Will we see those characters? I think yes. I think it's highly likely that, because we've already seen Luke. We've already seen R2. We've already seen C-3PO. So Leia and Han are likely around the corner. Maybe even some young Ben Solo too. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah. Give us Darth Jar Jar show or series? No. I don't think so. I don't believe that they're going to use Rey as a side character. They wouldn't take the chance to make new ones be the stars of at this phase. Well, they need to move on past the Skywalker saga. And I think Rey is the perfect bridge to do that. She will be a main character of the movie, but she won't be the main character of the movie. Like, she'll be the Obi-Wan in A New Hope, at least I think. Because Obi-Wan's a main character. He's just not the main character. And hopefully we'll get a new Luke, Leia, Han. Not literally named those characters, but you know what I mean. Don't necessarily need a Mando trilogy, but I'll welcome it, as long as it's a story and it's interesting. Well, it won't be a Mando trilogy, as we've been calling it. It will be a Heir to the Empire trilogy. So it will just involve Din Djarin, unless he dies in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. But it will be about Grand Admiral Thrawn. It will be about the remnant of the Empire trying to come back and failing. Actually, not really failing, because it will fail and then just come back as the First Order. But that's, I guess, hopefully going to be explained as well. There's aspects to this Heir trilogy that we could get that just aren't in Legends at all because, well, the First Order doesn't exist. Palpatine, he returns in Legends, but not in that particular story. Yeah. So it'll be a lot different, for sure. Disney/Lucasfilm just needs to come up with a strategy for the content to come. Like a new Star Wars movie every 2 years, and in between live action shows and animation shows every single year. I'd be fine with that. Well, it looks like they're going to do a movie every year. Because when we look at it this way, The Mandalorian and Grogu comes out next year. Following year, Star Wars Starfighter. Probably the following year, Dawn of the Jedi. Probably the following year, the Rey movie. The following year, Simon Kinberg's trilogy starts. The following year, Taika Waititi finally makes his movie. The following year, like the Lando movie. It just goes on and on and on. We have so many Star Wars movies that have been announced that are still in production. They have enough to go a movie a year. So I think a movie a year and a live action show a year keeps the doctors away. I hope. Yeah. Okay. Mike, have you seen the Battlefront broke records again? Yes, I did. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. I'm excited for Starfighter. I want to know more about the main character and what Starfighter means. Yeah, and I really hope that Starfighter does set up the Rey movie. It needs all the help it can get. Clearly, as we're talking about it today, in less than 50% of you, or sorry, more than 50% of you, are not excited for the movie. It needs all the help it can get. And if Starfighter's really good and sets up the Rey movie, it'll be in a better place. Yeah. Chris, what's up? Hey, Mike, do you think that Luke will be in the new Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Or new trilogy? Will he be in the trilogy if they do make a trilogy? I think yes. Will he be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? No. I think they'll save Luke as like they saved him in the Mandalorian season 2. Like he'll be the one to come save the day. Probably. Yeah. Probably. Mike, hello.
Hello there.
So many of these things have been announced and they just keep getting pushed back. Well, here's the thing. I would rather a project get announced and get pushed back than it be announced and forced out and not be good. I get that there are deadlines that have to be made. There's content that needs to be created. But whenever something is rushed, whenever something is not prepared correctly, it ends up not being good. With a few, I guess, some few exceptions. Rogue One being one of the biggest ones. Rogue One had a lot of issues behind the scenes, and it became a masterpiece. But there's always an exception. Usually, when you don't plan out something well, and you don't give it time, the time that it needs, it always ends up like crap. And that's why this is good news. It's all good news. Yeah. Okay. But with that being said, I missed a couple super chats here. Jordan Rennie with the $2 holla says, just a $2 holla for a Hondo impression. I can get you with that. And Explore the Force with the $2 holla. I appreciate that. Says, you better bring those dance moves on the 13th. Yeah. So we will be going on Explore the Force on July 13th. I'll, of course, remind you guys as we get closer to that. But yeah, I'll definitely be bringing those dance moves. I will indeed. Hondo impression? Remind me at the end of the live stream because it just kind of throws me off when we go to do impressions while we're in the middle of stuff. Okay. So, we talked about that already though. So the Mandalorian and Grogu movie being a trilogy or being the beginning of a trilogy only if it's a hit seems to me like a bad idea. Because if you can actually market it as a trilogy, it will be far more successful. But it seems like the majority of you agree with me on that. Thankfully. But, Mike, I'm 2/3 into reading Shadows of the Empire with the Battle of Jakku book. In the brand new final High Republic novel, Trials of the Jedi Next. What? Oh, you're reading all 3 of those books at the same time? Wait, what? Okay. Maybe we need a Embo, Hondo, Mando, Lando combo.
Incorrect.
I don't think Rey is going to be in the new Starfighter movie. I don't think she'll be in it, or maybe if she is, it's the very last scene, but it will connect directly to her Jedi Order. Like, that's what they'll be looking for the entire movie, I think, and I hope. Yeah. Yeah. Luke, Mara Jade, Thrawn, and a bit of Talon Card. It would be great if they gave us Mara Jade and Talon Card for that matter, but I don't really see them going down that route at this point, because The Mandalorian and all these other Mandoverse shows have changed the story so drastically that so many of those characters just don't even exist. Now, could Talon Card be replaced by somebody else? Like maybe a Jod Nana would? Granted, Jod is not Talon, I guess. But maybe. Could Mara Jade be replaced by Shin Hati? Maybe. We shall see. Yeah. Jordan, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah. Mike, if this happens, I'll be very happy to get a Mando trilogy. I hope to God the Starfighter doesn't include Rey. If it does, it'll hamper its success. Hamper its success, maybe? I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly. I think the only hope, help me, Starfighter, you're my only hope. The only hope for the Rey movie is that it's set up for success. And Starfighter setting it up would be a lot better. Yeah. Indeed. Oh my God, you guys are feeling extra generous today. Another Mike who loves Star Wars, the very generous $2 holla says Old Republic Trilogy, 1032 BBY, Final, Sith, and Jedi Wars. Well, if I was going to do the Old Republic, I want to start from the beginning and tell the whole story all the way through. I know that they love to tell a story right from the middle and then go back and tell the prequels and do all that stuff. That's what George loves to do, and that's what they still love to do now. But I would rather them just start from the beginning with the Dawn of the Jedi, literally 25,000 years, and not tell every single year, obviously, but hit the major points. You can tell the Dawn of the Jedi probably in a trilogy, and then you can move thousands of years later to the start of Sith and Jedi War. You can really do it. It's really tough. I don't know. But I don't want to start at the end, you know? I want to tell the whole story of Revan. I want to tell the whole story of Darth Bane. I want to tell the whole story of everybody and do it correctly. Yeah. Mike, I swear, if the final scene of Starfighter includes Rey, I truly believe / fear that the audience will have the opposite reaction that they had with Luke at the end of The Force Awakens. Cringe. Well, maybe. That all depends on how good the movie is. And yes, I agree with you. They probably shouldn't copy the exact ending of The Force Awakens because that would just be bad. But I will say, if Rey's at the end of the movie, let me pitch it to you this way. How about this instead? No Rey at all. Instead, to get fans to be more excited about the Rey movie and to be more excited in general about the end of Starfighter, it's Finn. Everybody loves John Boyega. Having him come back and be a Jedi, that's what fans all want. So what if the end of Starfighter is not Rey, because fans don't particularly like that character, and like you said, it might turn people away. What if it's Finn? And instead of people going, oh, Rey? They go, oh my God, John Boyega's back? He's a Jedi now? I want more of that. And that could lead them perfectly into giving us the Rey movie, which has more of that. Thoughts? Opinions? Better? Worse? The same? We need a Mike and Sam trilogy? I agree with that. But you would hurt you would hurt Starfighter by connecting it to Rey. The people who show up don't like Rey. Again, you would get away with that with Finn. Indeed, you would. So Finn is randomly a Jedi at the end of Starfighter. It's not going to be confusing as hell to general audiences. It won't. It will be, but that's sort of the idea. It's a cliffhanger ending to have you want more of Finn. And Finn has, of course, been set up to be a Jedi since day one, and in The Rise of Skywalker has been teasing it being Force sensitive and stuff. And fans have been trying to make him a Jedi for a decade now. So the Stormtrooper turned Jedi will become a reality, and we could actually get that in not only the Rey movie, but in Starfighter too. Do y'all think that the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, each movie would... Wait, what? Oh, do you think that the original trilogy and the prequel trilogies movies could each be a standalone movie? No. No. They don't work like that. That's why they're trilogies. If you just watched Return of the Jedi, you'd be so confused. You'd be like, how did we get here? If you just watched Attack of the Clones, you'd be like, what are we doing? You know? Yeah. John Boyega said he wasn't doing any more Star Wars. That was a long time ago. I think that was in, 2020? 2021? That's 4 or 5 years ago. And things have changed quite drastically. There's a great interview out there now. Oh, I forget the guy who does the interview. It was from a couple weeks ago with John Boyega at some sort of convention where he's talking Star Wars for a long, long time, and how much he loves Star Wars still, and how much he didn't say he wants to come back per se, but I mean, money talks. Yeah. Indeed. After John Boyega's last comments, he will probably not see any action with Disney again. Last comments? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? General audiences don't know all the background on Finn. That doesn't really work. It works for Star Wars fans who are on YouTube and social media regularly, but not the normal normal movie audience. True, but Star Wars doesn't have to pertain to those people. Let me rewind to that for a second. Star Wars doesn't play dumb to its audiences. That's what I meant to say. Not we should just throw out the normie fans. It's self-explanatory, really. If you see Finn as a Jedi, you're not going to go, "That's impossible! No! You can't do that!" You're going to go, "Whoa, Finn became a Jedi? That's awesome. I want more of that." So it's not, and again, Star Wars doesn't dumb down for its fans. Look at the Clone Wars. Look at Rebels. Look at Ahsoka. That's some complex shit. The World Between Worlds, Force Ghosts, Mortis Gods, that's some crazy stuff. It doesn't take its time to go, this means this, and that means that. It's the same thing with the Marvel Universe. They're not dumbing it down for their audiences, because when you do that, you're making it stupid for your hardcore fans. And the normie fans, they can do it. I believe in them. They can figure it out. They can figure it out. And even if they can't, well then, boo freaking who. Now, you don't want to dumb it down for your audiences. So Finn showing up as a Jedi, even to normie fans who didn't catch that drift in Rise of Skywalker, they'd just be like, okay, cool. He's a Jedi now. That's awesome. You know? You know? Oh yeah, he's talked a lot of crap about Disney and Lucasfilm for sure. But I still think they bring him back. 100%. Yeah. Exactly. For reference, Sabine Wren becoming a Jedi was handled very well by Star Wars hardcore fans. LOL. That is a good example. But I think that Finn and Sabine are very different. I feel like with the sequel trilogy, so many people liked the character of Finn. They just didn't like the way that his arc went. And they wanted him to become a Jedi, so if he did become a Jedi, then people would like that. And I will say, the whole Sabine thing, it's ridiculous. It's almost like I'm trying to find another example. It's almost like the witches and the Acolyte. So many people hated the witches and the Acolyte. It was like, oh my God, why are they all females? What's going on here? But witches have been around in Star Wars for 20 years, probably more, way more actually. So witches have been around for quite some time in Star Wars. That's just people who don't know what they're doing or what they're watching, I guess. Sabine is sort of the same way. It's clear that it was people who haven't seen Rebels before, not knowing that she's trained with Kanan Jarrus and Ahsoka Tano for the last 11 years, was it? More than that, 15 years? She's been training for quite some time. And that's sort of the same argument, I guess. So maybe you're onto something. Maybe the fans would have a similar reaction to Finn being a Jedi. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they would like that. That's what they wanted in the first place, you know? Yeah, no? The Clone Wars, Rebels, Ahsoka are dumbed down. They can only move the plot by having their characters do incredibly stupid things. What? What does that even mean? Finn deserves to be finally a Jedi. I agree. I mean, that's the arc that he should have went on in the sequel trilogy. The fact that we didn't get that, and we understand that we didn't get that, if we get it eventually in the Rey movie or in Star Wars Starfighter or whatever it may be, then that's what fans are waiting for. That's what we want. Or at least some of us, I should say. Yeah. Check out the end of the book of The Rise of Skywalker. Rey knew Finn was a bright light in the Force. Oh, if you just watch The Rise of Skywalker, it's so evident. I mean, the whole movie, he's trying to tell her that she's Force sensitive. He even comes out and says it at one point that he senses something about Rey. I forget the exact thing. I haven't watched The Rise of Skywalker in a little bit, but he literally comes out and says that he senses something in the Force or whatever he says. It's really not that hard to see. Yeah. Finn should have been the main character, not Rey. Well, that's not the issue. They both can be main characters. I mean, you have multiple main characters in every trilogy. There doesn't have to be one specific main character. Granted, I guess one does step up more than the others. Anakin's probably the main character of the prequels. Luke is the main character of the originals. But Han and Leia are just right there with Obi-Wan is just right there. Padme is just right there with Anakin. So it's the same dynamic, I guess. Same sort of deal. Yeah. And when Rey dies, he knows. Yeah, there's 1,000 things in The Rise of Skywalker that are clear, just as bright as day, like knock you on the head with a hammer. Finn is Force sensitive. Yeah. Exactly. In Ahsoka, how many things did Sabine do that were moronic? Like take the map when they told her not to, so the plot could keep moving. Bad writing. But that's been Sabine. Like that's the character of Sabine. That's actually great writing. That's exactly what Sabine would do. We've spent the last decade. Yeah. When did Rebels start? 2014? 2013? We spent the last decade with the character of Sabine. That's exactly what she would do. Like, this is the same character that we know from that show. That's called great writing. Yeah. Obi-Wan is one of the main characters in the prequels, or is more of a main character in the prequels than the originals. Yeah, I mean, he dies in the first original movie, but yeah, he is a Force ghost, I guess. But, yeah, absolutely. He's way more of a main character. Ow! Stepped on my pen. Yeah. Ugh. Indeed. What's up, Charlie? How we doing? Yeah. He had a feeling when the communications towers were taken down. He also had a feeling when Rey died. Yeah, but there was one other one where Rey is like going to the Death Star or something, and he had another feeling or something. I forget. 50 Thunder with a very generous $5 holla says Finn becomes a Jedi, and through the Force, he discovers the whereabouts of old Mace Windu. I mean, as great as that would be, I don't think Mace Windu surviving to the sequel trilogy. we did talk about Mace Windu returning this week, but even if he did, like, how old is Mace Windu in Revenge of the Sith? Does anybody know? Somebody fact check me on that. How old is Mace Windu in Revenge of the Sith? Because even if he survived the fall, even if he comes back in, let's say, a Kenobi Season 2 or a Book of Boba Fett Season 2, he comes back in the Mandoverse, he's not surviving to the sequel trilogy. There's no way. Yeah. There's no way. He was in his 50s in Revenge of the Sith? Was he that old? How old was Mace Windu in Revenge of the Sith? $53? Wow. I did not think he was that old. Okay, well, that's older than I thought. So 53. Now you have to put, it's 20 years or 19 years till A New Hope. So now he's 73 by the time of A New Hope. So if he comes back in the Mandoverse, he's going to be in his 80s. Yeah, give or take. In his 80s, early to late 80s. And then he's going to, survive another 25 years to be 110 by the time of the Force Awakens. And then another 17 years to be in the Rise of in post Rise of Skywalker. He's not going to be 130 when Finn is tracking him down, sadly. Yeah, sadly. Unless he was put in a back to tank. I mean, we were talking about that theory the other day. For sure. 7 years old, at least. At least 7 years old. Then Sabine is a badly written character. How is that good writing? It's the exact same character from Rebels. That's why it's good writing. Sabine is definitely not a bad character. Let me rewind and rephrase. Have you watched Rebels? Because if you haven't, you definitely should. Rebels is peak. I'll never know why people keep harping about not liking stuff that's now in the past. It's over. Look to the future with optimism. I mean, that's a very optimistic way to look, but with Star Wars, we go back and watch all this stuff all the time. There's no way to not look back on the past at things that you don't like. What I actually like is that the future of content could fix things, especially with the sequel trilogy, because of a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show or a post-sequel story, making those characters better, making the story arcs better. If Luke Skywalker turning into the old hermit on Arc 2 gets explained a whole lot better by his blood possibly being the reason that Palpatine could create an entire Force-sensitive army and the reason that Snoke was created and the First Order comes to power, like, that would be enough for him to go into hiding. Actually getting to see the First Order rise to power, see Palpatine's contingency plan, see Project Necromancer and how that pans out, it helps. Now the somehow Palpatine return line actually gets turned into multiple seasons of an incredible show with an explanation. It's like the Clone Wars making the prequels better. Or, like we just got off of, Andor making Rogue One better, and Rogue One making the original trilogy better. Yeah. Indeed. Finn got major screen time in The Force Awakens. He fought with a lightsaber twice. First against the Stormtrooper and later against Kylo Ren. True. I think it was The Last Jedi. I mean, Rian Johnson just put Finn on the sidelines. He went on this side mission with Rose, and it was just whatever. And then when The Rise of Skywalker came around, he does do more, but The Last Jedi had already disrupted the storyline. So I think if J.J. Abrams did the entire trilogy, Finn would have had a way bigger role and probably would have become a Jedi, or at least trained to become one. Started to train. Yeah. Indeed. Rebels is peak Star Wars. You could say that again. My headcanon is peak Star Wars. Well, there you go. Yeah. Rebels is a cheap ripoff of Aladdin. That's a good one. Yeah. The only issue with Ahsoka that I have is that you have to have seen Rebels to understand the character arcs and that took place. True, I mean, as much as Dave Filoni would have loved to have Ahsoka have zero prior knowledge to be able to watch it, that's just not the case. Like, yes, you can watch Ahsoka. You'll be confused, at least a little bit. You can probably follow the story, but you don't know who these characters are. We have so much backstory, so much history with the character of Ahsoka, but also the Rebels crew. We know who Thrawn is from Rebels, but also from Legends. We know who Morgan Elsbeth is from The Mandalorian and now Tales of the Empire. But you have all this prior knowledge of all those characters. So yeah, I guess that is a valid complaint to have. Yeah. Indeed. Animated characters don't have as much work to do as live action characters. That Sabine was a one note as an animated counterpart was the problem. Sabine was a one note as the animated counterpart was. You're saying that animated characters don't transfer well to live action characters? I mean, I disagree. Ahsoka specifically has transitioned quite good, but even the rest of the Ghost crew did too. Yeah. Is Ezra Bridger alive during the sequels? He could be. We don't know if he is, but he could be. I mean, he could die at any moment, but he's definitely young enough to be in them. How old is Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka? Anybody? Anybody? Isn't he like 14? Or no, he's born on Empire Day, right? So he would be something like 14, 15 in Rebels Season 1. So he would be 19 by A New Hope. He'd be 21-ish. He'd be in his mid to late 20s, I think. Right? 28? Okay. 28. All right, perfect. Yeah. So 28 years old. He can live another 25 years. Easy. He'd be a lot older. He'd be in his 50s, 60s, late 50s, early 60s. But he would be alive. Unless he dies. Unless he gets chops his head off or something. I don't know. We'll see. Finn and Wim would make a good team? Well, yeah, I believe, unless they all die. The kids from Skeleton Crew could all be alive during the events of that. The math is mathin'. Yeah. Yeah. Rebels had stormtroopers on top of transports shooting at Ezra and missing from 3 feet away, but it's okay because it's animation. Well, also, yes, absolutely. I mean, you go back and watch Rebels, Clone Wars, all that stuff. There's a lot of things that they don't work because it's animation, but yeah. Yeah. So much fancy Star Wars math today. My head hurts. Well, it's the problem because it's not round numbers. Like Order 66 happens in 19 BBY. There's 19 years between the prequels and the originals. So it's not the easiest numbers to work with, you know? Yeah. Yeah. I would say that Sabine finding Ezra was very important to her. I mean, yeah, it was only the most important thing to her. You mean her best friend that she lost for 11 years? You mean that Mandalorian stubbornness that we see in Bo-Katan all the time? The animation Ahsoka has way more personality than Rosario Dawson, who just stares with her arms folded for about half the scenes. Well, that's also the case of being a lot older. That's more of the Rebels Ahsoka. Rebels Ahsoka has a lot less words to say, as Clone Wars Ahsoka is more witty and sassy and teenager type, where this is now an older, more mature Ahsoka like we see in Rebels. Ahsoka in Rebels is a lot more adult, because Clone Wars Ahsoka is just a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid. Yeah. Indeed. How do we get onto this? We're talking Rey movie. We're talking Mando trilogy. How do we get to this? I don't know. But we do have to switch gears a little bit here because we got two other big things to talk about here. Let's talk the Acolyte. Let's talk Darth Plagueis, okay? Just because we had Darth Plagueis in the chat earlier talking about Plagueis, okay? Let's do this. So, the visual guide for the Acolyte came out yesterday, 2 days ago. Came out this week. So, it came out this week, and we learned a little bit about our boy Darth Plagueis, what he's up to, what he's doing, and how can we get more of this guy. So let's take a look at this, okay? So this is coming from the Star Wars Holocron, sorry. Star Wars Holocron. Well, first let's take a look at this actually. Yeah, it's the caption says pisses me off that to no end that we'll never get a follow-up to this. So, this is the Darth Plagueis we see in the Acolyte. And it says, Dweller in the Dark. Aside from Osha and the Stranger. I love that they call him the Stranger still. The fact that we'll never find out what Kimir's real name is so devastating. Okay. The third figure lurks in the shadows on the unknown world. The Sith Lord, Darth Plagueis, watches the others with great interest. So not a lot going on there. However, like I said before, Star Wars Holocron gets into this. The visual guide for the Acolyte expands on the Darth Plagueis and the Sith in canon and ties to James Luciano? Sure. Darth Plagueis novel. If you haven't read the Darth Plagueis novel, it is Legends still, but it's probably one of the best Legends books there is. It might be the best. But either way, it's arguably it's not canon, but some aspects of it could become canon eventually. It depends on how they go with this, but let's dive into this. 11 things we learned from the Acolyte visual guide. Now, I have not gotten has anybody in the chat gotten this yet? I have not gotten it yet. But tell me in the chat if you have it yet. Oh, you got it, Ron? Ron's got it. Nice. Okay, yeah, I got to go pick this up. I got to figure it out. Yeah. Okay. But 11 things we learned about the Acolyte visual guide. Let's take a look. Oh, this is way too small. Hang on, zoom in. Much better. 1 year after its release. Wow. We are 2 years since the release of the announcement of the Rey movie and the Dawn of the Jedi movie, and we are 1 year since the Acolyte. Somebody slow down this clock here. Okay. It's been 1 year since the release of the Acolyte, and it lives on in this form of various tie-in books releasing in 2025. The Wayseeker book released a couple weeks ago, and there's another prequel novel coming out later this year, maybe? One of these books is the Acolyte's Visual Guide, written by Pablo Hidalgo, with a foreword by series star Amanda Steinberg. Interesting. All right, let's take a look. The planet Darth Plagueis and Kimir officially connects to Legends. This is what we were talking about when the show was coming out, and now we got some confirmation to it. The mysterious ocean world that Kimir, aka the Stranger, is based on was the subject of much speculation when the series premiered. We talked about this week in and week out. Okay, wait, you guys can't see the whole page. Hang on, let's zoom out a tad. That's better. Okay, that's better. The planet remains unnamed in the visual guide, but new details provide evidence that the planet is, in fact, Baldemic, the critical location of the Darth Plagueis novel by James Lucena. So, a little bit of a backstory on the planet of Baldemic. It's very important in that novel. It's where Plagueis is taken with his master, Darth Tenebrous. Almost blanked on that name for a second. Darth Tenebrous. But this is where we see Kimir in the cave with what the hell is the metal? Why can I never remember the name of this metal? What is the helmet made of? The gauntlet he wears made of? You know what I'm talking about, Chat? Chat? End of July for the other book? Okay, good. What's coming out soon? What is the name of the metal? Cortosis, thank you. Yes. Tin. Cortosis, thank you. Yes, cortosis is all up in this planet. It's the same as in Legends. So, the visual guide mentions that the planet is the home of the intelligent reptilian species that lives far from the island that Osha sees, but Osha sees no trace of them. Sorry. The planet Baldemic in Legends is home to a reptilian species known as the Conmi. Is Conmi? Conmi? Whatever. Why is it important that the ocean world is Baldemic? Well, in Legends, this is the planet where Darth Plagueis kills his master, Darth Tenebris. Plagueis and Tenebris initially visited the planet because it is a large resource of cortosis, the metal we were just talking about. Maybe I should just keep reading, chat. I'm always asking these questions about stuff that literally gets answered 2 seconds later. The lightsaber-resistant material that Kimir uses for his helmet and gauntlet. So it still baffles me to this day how the Acolyte is not more liked. I understand the actors and actresses and creators saying all that stuff in the interviews, which angered a lot of people. I get that. But the show itself, it does so much cool stuff like cortosis, like the character of Kimir, like connections to Legends with cortosis and Baldemic and Darth Plagueis being brought into live action for the first time ever since we got introduced to the character over 20 years ago. It's just really crazy because it goes into so much Legends material. It goes into so much of just the lore of Star Wars. It adds so much to the lore of Star Wars. And yet it just, wasn't as liked as it should have been. But the integration of Baldemic into Legends, or into canon, I guess. Legends? Into canon shows Leslie Headland and the team behind the Acolyte were interested in making aspects of this critically acclaimed Darth Plagueis novel into canon. It would have been interesting to see what other elements of James Luceno's book would have made their way into a subsequent seasons of the now canceled show. So there's always hope for people who are saying, renew the Acolyte, make Acolyte Season 2, whatever. Wanting a continuation of Darth Plagueis, wanting a continuation of The Stranger and Osha and Vanestra Row and the Jedi Order 100+ years before the prequels. There's always hope. If Star Wars has taught us anything, it's about hope. But it would be really interesting to see how much of that Darth Plagueis novel would have become canon. Because already so many aspects are, from cortosis to the planet where Plagueis kills his master. And the book goes into crazier stuff than that. Way crazier stuff than that. In the book, it infers, or I guess it pretty much straight up tells us, that Plagueis and Palpatine are the ones who create Anakin. Not really purposely, but even still, that stuff could have been in a Acolyte Season 2, Acolyte Season 3, 4, further down the line when the next Acolyte comes around. Because if it's called the Acolyte, you can go from Osha to Plagueis to Palpatine to Darth Maul, because those are all acolytes at one point. An acolyte is just an apprentice to an apprentice, and that's what Maul is at the beginning of the Phantom Menace. So Palpatine, depending on how they go with the timeline, it could have been what Palpatine was to Plagueis if Tenebris was still alive, and it's definitely what Osha is right now. So getting more seasons of that would allow you to get to the point where you could get a lot of that Plagueis novel to come into canon. Not just the cortosis, not just the planet of Baldemic, which, by the way, could infer that Tenebris is still alive at that point, and Plagueis is going to kill him there later. But the timeline in canon is very shaky. At that point in the timeline, I should say. The Sith were once conquerors. This is true. Oh, so this is another aspect? Okay. In Legends, the Galactic Republic and Sith Empire were at war with one another. Until the Republic emerged victorious. So far, in canon, this also seems to be the case. However, a line from the Acolyte's visual guide casts doubt on that assumption. In the visual guide, it explains this. After the defeat of the Sith conquerors, the Republic emerged from the ashes of galactic conflict to reach unprecedented heights in the long stretch of peace that followed. Interesting. Using the term conquerors to describe Sith would imply that the dark side users at one point ruled the galaxy. Yes. The text further suggests that the Republic came to to be upon the defeat of the Sith, rather than the Republic and Sith empires existing simultaneously. Hang on. After the defeat of Sith conquerors, the Republic emerged from the ashes of galactic conflict. This doesn't mean that they didn't already exist. They emerged after the defeat of the conquerors. So they could have already been there. They just, like, the Sith had won and the Republic was, off hanging out, trying to survive. And then they came back. But, I guess. The text further suggests the Republic. Oh, I just read that. Analyzing these texts in conjunction with the statement made in Star Wars' 2020 number 20 by Charles Soule makes this even more interesting. In the comic, Elzar Mann, who's a Jedi from the High Republic novels, said this. This is what the Order was for me, a golden age, about 8 centuries, 800 years, after the end of the rule of the Sith Lord Darth Bane. Whoa. I did not know that this was in one of those comics. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. There's Darth Bane right there. That's supposed to be Revan. That's pretty sick. Okay. Collectively, the Acolyte Visual Guide and Star Wars number 20 suggest that Darth Bane was the leader of a Sith empire as it ruled the galaxy, and that eventually the Jedi overthrew Darth Bane, after which emerged the Republic. This is where things get really shaky. Are we a fan of this? The canon of Star Wars being changed so the legends of Star Wars being changed so drastically as it comes to canon? Because the Old Republic itself has been told pretty well. And fans are of course, love it. A change to that would be kind of drastic. Now, granted, this could just be all of them forgetting. Or maybe not forgetting, but not knowing. History books could be lying in a way. I'm not opposed to seeing Darth Bane ruling the galaxy, but that's just not what happens. Yeah. I'm not a fan of drastic changes. Yeah, me either. I just want Darth Bane, let's be honest. Kimir's history with the Hutts. Oh, wait, what? Manny Jacinto's Kimir is shrouded in much mystery in The Acolyte, although the Acolyte Visual Guide reveals much more details of this character. The book states that Kimir spent some time gun running in Hutt space. That's kind of cool. Is Kimir older than he appears? Were we not speculating about this over a year ago when the Acolyte was coming out? Was this not what we were doing? That he was over 100 years old? Can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bumpa! Okay. The book also explains that Kimir developed skills in chemistry and pharmaceuticals, because that's, I guess, what he did in the first couple episodes. This is particularly interesting, giving a specific item that is included in Kimir's apothecary. Jeez, English, Mike. The visual guide reveals that a custom tank in the storehouse has a rare Nori Inkal from the Boothie 4. The book elaborates by saying its fins secrete an oily serum that revitalizes aged skin while eliminates wrinkles. I see no wrinkles. Taken together with Kimir's expertise in chemistry, could the presence of this rare, age-defying substance suggest that the dark side user, also known as the Stranger, had used substances to conceal his age? Is it possible that Kimir had been around much longer than one would think? Unlike the other characters in the Acolyte's visual guide, Kimir's age is listed as unknown, further raising many questions about his past. Wow, so all the other characters have their ages, but his is unknown. What I would do to get more of this guy in Star Wars. My God. But that's pretty cool. You're talking like Sith Lords in Star Wars are hard to one up. They're hard to, you know, we got Palpatine. He's so freaking crazy. You got Vader. You got Maul. You got Count Dooku. This guy had so much intrigue behind him. The fact that he was very skilled in chemistry, in pharmaceuticals, the fact that he was making some concoction in his basement, seemingly, in his storehouse of this crazy material that could revitalize aged skin and eliminate wrinkles. He was changing the way he looked. He could be hundreds of years old. Vanestra Rowe is pretty surprised that he's still alive. Maybe we're wrong about him being Vanestra's Padawan. Maybe he was Vanestra's master. That would be even more crazy. That's the thing. The Acolyte Season 2 could have given us that mind-blowing reveal that this is the case. Like, we speculated about that, but the fact that it's never going to actually come true, or we'll never know, is pretty wild. Palpatine could have used that serum after Revenge of the Sith. Well, he had to look scarred, because the attack on my life has left me scarred. He had to prove that he was attacked by the Jedi. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Okay. Kimir may not actually be a Sith. Okay. In episode 5 of The Acolyte, the stranger had fans' jaws drop when they announced him as a Sith. However, the visual guide introduces the idea that the stranger may not be a Sith after all. Actually, many of you guys were saying that when that happened too. As the quote is this: "It is entirely possible he is a pretender to Sith lineage." I'll get to that super chat in 1 sec. Whether he is a true heir to the Sith is a mystery no one will survive to solve. Well, his connection to Plagueis is going to make things interesting. Well, I say he's going to, like there's going to be a second season. His connection to Plagueis is what is interesting. Is he Plagueis' apprentice? The show is called The Acolyte. We know that the Acolyte is an apprentice to an apprentice of a Sith, meaning Osha is the Acolyte, and she's an apprentice to an apprentice, meaning Kimir has to be an apprentice to Darth Plagueis. The math is mathing. The presence of Darth Plagueis in this series heavily implies that Plagueis was the stranger / Kimir's master. But is it also possible that Kimir is, as the visual guide suggests, simply an imitator, someone who admired the Sith and wished to be one, but isn't actually one of them, much like Kylo Ren, because Kylo is not a Sith Lord technically. Wait, what the hell? Where are all these? Hang on. Oh, got some super chats here that I missed. Hang on, chat. My theory is that Darth Plagueis saved Kimir from dying. That would make a lot of sense. He's got all those scars on his back, but that would have been a long time ago because, again, he's taking this potion that seemingly makes him live forever or makes him look younger, at least. Yeah. Okay. Back to this. The stranger can't see out of his helmet. The eye slits in the stranger's helmet is strictly cosmetic. The visual guide confirms that the helmet occludes vision, meaning that the stranger is relying on his knowledge of the Force to locate and fight his enemies. That was made pretty clear, no, when Osha put it on, because she couldn't see really much of anything out of it. So how else would he be able to do that? Including the fight with the Jedi in the forest. Eventually Jedi Master Soul. The idea of the Force user purposefully obstructing his vision to hone in on the Force has been seen throughout Star Wars. In A New Hope, Luke wears the blast shield helmet to obstruct his vision as he trains to use the Force with Ben Kenobi. Sabine also does a similar thing with Ahsoka. Elsewhere, blind Jedi Kanan Jarrus in Rebels and Ram Koda in The Force Unleashed uses their lack of sight as a means to grow closer with the Force. So that's something that's been seen before in Star Wars, but Kimir uses it to really hone into the dark side and kill a bunch of Jedi. Connection between the Acolyte and Andor. Whoa, what? Okay, let's see. Oh, gore. Nice. It's just gore. Okay, Gorman. The Acolyte visual guide reveals that Vanestra Row's white dress is made from Gore silk. In Andor Season 2, the people of Gorman are described as experts in clothes making, due to their native galactopods, spiders, those creepy spiders, that spun fibers to produce Gorman twill into clothing. So there you have it. I guess an Andor connection. I thought it was going to be something else, but even still. Baylan Skoll's Vulcan Jedi are explained. Wait, what? In this book? In Ahsoka, Ray Stevenson's character, Baylan Skoll, describes a class of Jedi known as Vulcan Jedi. Although he fails to elaborate on what distinguishes these Jedi from the others, the visual guide offers an explanation. Accompanying an image of Daphne Keen's Jecki Lorne and wooden Boken, a Jedi tool used at the Jedi Temple. The visual dictionary describes the wooden Boken as this. Wooden Boken are a traditional training tool used during repeat drills and learns new forms. They are durable and safe, though they can cause blunt trauma if carelessly handled. I don't see how that connects. This information confirms that the Boken Jedi that Baylan Skoll refers to were Force users who were trained with wooden sticks. As they do not have access to lightsabers. That's pretty good. Okay. This would ensure that Jedi's training away from the Jedi Temple, including post-Order 66 Jedi, without access to lightsabers, could still become proficient in using a lightsaber without directly having one. That's pretty cool. So the wooden Boken is a wooden staff or wooden lightsaber used for training at the Jedi temples. So Baylan Skoll calls the Jedi who are post Order 66 trained Boken Jedi because they train with sticks. See, this is the cool Star Wars lore stuff that we just they make me smile. A Jedi from the series is from key original trilogy planet. What? Oh, Yord is from Alderaan. That's pretty cool. Coruscant has how many people? The Acolyte visual guide reveals the population of Coruscant is a whopping 2,981,780,000,000 people. 2 trillion people, almost 3 trillion people. That is 370 times more than the population of Earth. Nice. OSHA's profession originates from the Hutts. OSHA is a mech tech, which originates from Huttese culture. Mech tech is a Huttese word for the profession that originated long ago. Cheap labor as starship mechanics. There you go. That's pretty cool. All right, so I'm definitely going to have to pick up this book. Some pretty cool connections there. The Boken Jedi thing was awesome. But the Kimir stuff was really great too. An Empire of Sith conquerors. Oh, Darth Bane. Seeing him conquer the galaxy would be pretty cool, not going to lie. Okay, but that was the visual dictionary stuff, the connection to Darth Plagueis. And honestly, as much as I want more Darth Plagueis, the Acolyte Season 2 seems less and less likely every single day. However, as I said before, Star Wars is built on hope. And when I get sad, when I get doom and gloom, I just think, maybe someday I'll see Darth Plagueis again. Maybe someday Kimir, the stranger, will grace my eyes one more time. Maybe someday. But pretty dang cool. Definitely got to check out that book. I don't know. I'm guessing I can get it on Amazon probably. But we'll see. We shall see. Rebellions are built on hope. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Hang on, Jed. I have not read this, so I don't really know what's going on here, but this is pretty interesting. This was posted yesterday. Oh, okay. Let's take a look at this. Star Wars reveals. Actually, I want to put up a poll before I even do this. Before I do that, let's put up a poll because this poll's been up for a while. This has been up for a while. From Cortosis Mines comes the stranger. Nice. Nice. The Wi-Fi must be crowded on Coruscant. That's pretty awesome. Okay. 72% of you do think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will be the beginning of a trilogy. I gotta agree with you on that one. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay, let's put a poll here. Do you want the Acolyte Season 2? Yes or no? Do you want more of Darth Plagueis? Do you want more of Vanestra Rowe and Kimir's relationship? Do you want more of that story? You tell me. Okay. Kylo comes back. No, I don't think so, but let's take a look at this. Somebody to replace Kylo Ren. Star Wars reveals the character set up to replace Kylo Ren. The Knights of Ren are back in Star Wars, but Kylo is nowhere to be seen. Let's take a look at this. Star Wars reveals the new Kylo Ren replacement as a part of one of the latest starfaring stories. Kylo, played by Adam Driver in the Lucasfilm sequel trilogy, has become a fan favorite character. He was definitely my favorite character in the sequel trilogy, other than Babu Frick. Whether it was his worship or the fear of the fearsome Darth Vader, pursuit of the Force-sensitive Rey, or his eventual turn to the light side, the character has been explored plenty in the Star Wars universe. However, at least on screen, one aspect that remains largely shrouded in shadow is his affiliation with the mysterious Knights of Ren. A new comic series revealed a new character replacing Adam Driver's Kylo Ren as the leader of the Knights of Ren. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but didn't the Knights of Ren all die in the Rise of Skywalker? Doesn't Kylo kill them all? Chad? Am I misremembering? Exactly, KG. Am I misremembering? Hang on, my dog is barking upstairs. Is anybody home? Can anyone get Boo? Hang on. You guys have met Boo before. She's barking right now. I don't know why. Oh, somebody just let her in. Okay, never mind. Never mind. She's okay. She's barking at the door. Okay. Where were we? Did they die? I think so. They had reserves. It's okay. For more Knights of Ren. Well, it's possible that there was more Knights of Ren, but I thought they all died. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought they all died. The mailman? No. She just doesn't bark like that. She's only barking to come inside. She's outside. It's really hot out today, so it sounds like she's inside. All right. Where were we? Since February of 2025, the canon Star Wars comic Legacy of Vader has focused on Kylo Ren upholding the dark side wielding legacy of Darth Vader between the events of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker without his band of knights. So, as per usual, the comics of Star Wars are cooking. They're making some incredible stuff as per usual. And this time, it's actually during the sequel events, which is pretty cool. Their absence has been explained as Kylo looks to no longer be the head of the Knights of Ren's snake. Interesting. A new variant cover of the Legacy of Vader number 8, shared online. We didn't look at that one, never mind. Highlights a new to the comics character, Tava Revan. Tava? Tava? Tava. Tava. I don't care. A Ren, sorry. Did I say Revan? Ren, who has taken over as the leader of the terrifying group. Interesting. Love the horns. Looks like a horny face. No, looks like Daredevil, but Star Wars. Tava. We're going with Tava. Is said to be the group's new leader, taking over for Kylo Ren. However, to inspire her followers, complete devotion, she must first kill Kylo. I like the sound of that. Okay. The official plot synopsis for the upcoming comic issue describes this epic turn of events, revealing that fans will learn the dark secrets of this mysterious group of villains. Finally, more Knights of Ren. I want to know the dark secrets of this mysterious group of villains. I wanted it in the movies. But I guess we'll get this. Ficone, what is up? How we doing? We missed you, Ficone. We missed you. All right. It looks like a Daredevil knockoff. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay. As well as the nefarious lengths that Tava will go to put her blood-soaked plan into action. The Knights of Ren return with a new leader, Tava Ren. In order to control the Knights of Ren, Tava must kill Kylo Ren. Learn the dark secrets of this mysterious group of villains, the subterfuge. Easy for me to say. What subterfuge will this new warrior use to get what she wants? I'm guessing she doesn't have a lightsaber to take him down, but it'd be kind of cool if she did. While not confirmed, this new leader and Kylo are supposedly heading on a collision course towards one another. And well, based on the timeline placement, we know that Kylo must make it out alive. So things are not looking too hot for Tava Ren. So it seems like she's probably going to die, but even still, maybe she doesn't. Star Wars Legacy of Vader number 8 comes to comic book stores worldwide on September 3rd. September 3rd? That's so long from now. From writer Charles Soule. I mean, if you want anybody writing the story, that's who you want. And illustrator Stefano Raphael. Yep, sure. The latest entry into the ongoing Star Wars and Marvel comic collaboration marks the 8th chapter in the 10-issue story from the team. No release information for the run's final 2 issues have been made publicly. So how long between issues is it? Is issue 7 already out now and we have to wait 3 months for the next one? Because that'd be crazy. Will Kylo ever return in the Star Wars universe? Well, Tava Ren may be sitting at the head of the Knights of Ren table right now, at least in the comic form. Many would agree that there is nothing that Disney or Lucasfilm can possibly do to replace Adam Driver's Kylo Ren. True. However, it has now been over half a decade since the character had last been heard from in the beloved sci-fi franchise. Well, he kind of dies. Will he ever go back, if ever? Okay. Over the years, plenty of speculation has been made about potential Kylo-focused projects on a big or small screen for Lucasfilm to tackle. However, none of them have come to fruition. I would way rather a prequel story for Kylo, how he comes to be, how he falls to the dark side, all that stuff, than anything else, I guess. With the character seemingly dead by the time of Episode 9's end, it would make it quite hard for Adam Driver's Star Wars character to get back on screen. But in the galaxy far, far away, there's always a way. This is the way. The most likely place at this point for Kylo to pop back up would be in the upcoming Rey-focused New Jedi Order movie. Perhaps Daisy Ridley's Jedi Master will commune with the Force ghost of her former Force-wielding cohort, like Luke Skywalker did with Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original trilogy. That would make some sense. Although, given recent reports that the Rey movie has been shelved indefinitely, that's not what happened. It's been pushed back. That theory looks less likely to happen now more than it once did. So, honestly, I think this is the last place that he would show up in. The New Jedi Order movie. If Kylo's coming back, it's coming back before the sequels. Unless it's an animated show in between, but it seems far more likely that it's before. But, with that being said, tell me in the chat, would you want to see more of Kylo Ren? Probably in a prequel, but would you want to see more of him? And that's pretty cool. I mean, this girl's, it does look like Daredevil knockoff, but it looks badass. It's got me excited. I'm not even reading these comics. I'm not even in on the comics, but I'm excited. Yeah. Somehow Kylo Ren returns. Doubt it, but yes. Issue 1 was about 5 pages and literally about a paragraph of writing in the whole thing. Oh, that's a bummer. That stinks. That stinks. See you later, Ron. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Okay, but there is that. Oh, wait. Yes, of course. I almost forgot to talk about this. So, we talked Rey movie. We talked trilogy. We talked Darth Plagueis and Kimir and the Acolyte. We talked Kylo Ren. But here is the record-breaking news. Yet again, Battlefront 2 has broken some more records. It just hit its all-time peak again. So, just when we thought this was a one-time thing, when we thought that this game was going to just be like a big weekend and then it was going to crash again, nope. Since mid-May, end of May, whenever that was, since mid to end May, it's now almost mid to end June, it's just continued to go up. It's just a constant incline right here. This is the last 30 days, it looks like. Or no, this is the last week. Sorry, week. Yeah. So the declines are like the middle of the night or whatever when people aren't on the most. But look at this. 2 days ago, today, or this is today, I guess. 2 days ago, yesterday, today. It just keeps going up. It's crazy. This game is 8 years old and hasn't been updated in 5 years. It's clear that people want Battlefront 3, but I did not think that this was going to happen. The previous record before this all happened was 10,000. 10. We have way over doubled the record 8 years later. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And this does say, oh wait, there was another one here. Hang on. Somewhere it said, okay, I guess I can't find it. But somewhere else it said that it was over 300,000 across all platforms or something like that. I don't know where that is now. But, oh wait. Nope. That's not it. Okay, I guess not. But even still, that's pretty wild. That game is still breaking records, and nobody thought it would. That's absolutely insane. Yeah. So crazy. So crazy. All right. But I do have to get on out of here. I appreciate you guys. We did talk about almost everything I wanted to, and we got it done within 2 hours. That's called a good stream right there. I don't know what I was going to say, but it wasn't going to be that. Okay. But I appreciate you all so much more than you ever know. Is the Rey movie going to be gone forever? No, it's still going to happen. They're just pushing it back so they can get it done the right way. Will Star Wars Starfighter set it up? I don't know, but only time will tell. James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi has been pushed up. So excited about that because Dawn of the Jedi, come on, Mr. Willie Mon, James Mangold, the origins of the Jedi. Can't get much better than that. Mandalorian and Grogu movie does seem to be looking like it's going to be a trilogy, which is fan-freaking-tastic. And the hopes live on for more Acolyte. By the way, wait, what? Did I end that poll? I don't know if I did. 69% of you, nice, say yes, you do want an Acolyte Season 2. Nice. Love to see it. If you have not yet already, smash a freaking like on the stream. How many likes do we have? 47! What happened, chat? Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell. It's going to notify every time I post a video in my pretty face. Channel recommended feed of yours. Yes, Jordan, I did not forget. I appreciate that, though. I did not forget about the Hondo impression, so let me pull that up really quickly. Hondo Unaka. I don't know. What should we have him be saying?
Hero, ready the men, we're leaving.
This says,
I'm flying! At your service.
Is this a joke? I don't deal with washed up old relics.
Come now, let's leave your wife out of this.
I forgot that he said that.
Joke. I don't deal with washed up old relics.
Come now, let's leave your wife out of this.
Come now, let's leave your wife out of this. Damn, that's crazy. I gotta rewatch Star Wars Rebels. I didn't realize he was roasting him that hard. That's crazy. And do Collins? We'll do Collins next time, Steve. You gotta remind me because I always forget to do Collins. Yeah. Yeah. Say hi to Sam for me. I will say hi to Sam for you. I appreciate that. Okay. But if you have not already, smash a freaking like on this stream. I appreciate it. All right. But until next time, may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you will ever know. Yes, the Rey movie is delayed, but this is not bad news. This is actually great news. Great news. But until next time, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.